Bai Lian stands before the classroom, a black wooden hairpin holding her hair as she presents her group's work. But the Xu family's ticket holds a power shift no one anticipated. Leave a like and subscribe to walk this path. In the classroom, a few members of the group were speaking in low voices. Wang Xu sat at the edge of the table, elbows propped on it, covering his face with his hands, while the computer screen in front of him still displayed his report page. The occasional ding of new messages popping up on WeChat and QQ in the bottom right corner of the screen twisted the entire classroom atmosphere. This was the first lesson society taught Wang Xu: never trust anyone in society. The sound of the door opening startled Wang Xu, and he dropped his hands dejectedly. "Sorry, it's all my fault." Someone in the group was scowling, their frustration hard to articulate. "We worked so hard to collect data, to gather materials, to integrate the model, and we were about to start presenting. Our whole group trusted you so much, and now you're saying there's a mistake in the modeling. Does that do justice to all the effort we've put in these past days?" The opportunity at Boyuan Base was so precious. Everyone had given their utmost effort. They didn't return to the dorms until after 11 at night, and then they'd be off to the computer lab, the laboratory, or the library by before 6 in the morning. "Enough," Tang Ming frowned, standing up to stop the internal quarrel. "When Wang Xu suggested collaborating with Ling Xiao, none of you objected. It's not fair to push all the blame onto him now. This isn't the time to complain. Let's calm down and think of a way to make amends." Not many in the group had participated in mathematical modeling, and with the data support, choosing problem C in the National Math Modeling Contest would take at least 3 days. So that was why they had thought of collaborating with Ling Xiao. The data they obtained were to establish a model that would explain and predict the actual problems in their academic report. That person snorted coldly, turning their head away, a hint of despair in their voice. "What can we do now? Where can we get an analysis model from?" A cloud of gloom enveloped the entire classroom. The silence was suffocating. Song Min also clenched his fists, took over Wang Xu's computer, closed the document, and opened MATLAB. "We'll rush the modeling now." With only 1 day left, it was impossible to finish the model. When Bai Lian sat down at her desk, the classroom was still oppressive and somber. Tang Ming looked at Ning Xiao and then Bai Lian, noticing their expressions were the same as always. Their emotional stability was frightening to Tang Ming. Bai Lian sat down and opened her chat with He Wen, scrolling through the conversation they had about preparing the model and making assumptions, interspersed with a lot of papers. Bai Lian read fast, helping him integrate a lot of reference materials, confirming the expressions. It was only after a few exchanges that she saw the compressed file He Wen had sent, a model. She clicked download, then forwarded it to the group chat. Just as she was about to exit WeChat, a message from Su En came. "I've given the invitation to your grandfather." Image: "Do you like this room design?" Bai Lian clicked to look. It was a room design, slightly Chinese style. She didn't understand much about design but felt the space was large and looked comfortable. Bai Lian: "It looks nice." Su En: "Gritted teeth, that's good." Then came a message from Jai Shaojun. "I will bring you fish soup tomorrow morning." Do either of them dislike fish soup? Jai Shaojun knew Tang Ming and Ning Xiao were there. She tilted her head, whispered quietly, asking the two, "Do you guys drink fish soup?" Ning Xiao had already downloaded Bai Lian's compressed file in the group chat and was installing the decompression software. Hearing the question, he nodded. Tang Ming hadn't expected Bai Lian to bring up eating fish at such a serious time, but he also nodded. "Yeah." Their voices were not loud, but it distracted Song Min, who was trying to calm his mind. Bai Lian had also been there, clearly aware there was a problem with the model, and yet had the mood to discuss food now. He looked up, his irritation hard to articulate. "Even if you can't help, can't you at least stay silent?" Song Min's gaze swept over the computer page Bai Lian had opened, where she had written less than half as much as Wang Xu. At this moment, he couldn't help but think of Bai Shaojun. If she were here, she'd surely be working on the model with him, instead of being like most of the others, choosing to give up. Song Min even thought it would be so much better if the spot belonged to Bai Shaojun. rather than Bai Lian, who seemed oblivious to the situation and probably couldn't even make sense of the papers. Bai Lian put down her phone, her back lazily resting against the back of the chair, casually opening software on the computer screen with her fingertips. She glanced at Song Min. "If I'm silent, can you finish it?" Song Min paused. "It seems I can't." Bai Lian withdrew his gaze, slowly typing 2 words with his fingertips on the keyboard. "Then I suggest you have fewer problems." Ning Xiao had already opened the zip file. It contained models and analysis. He quickly scanned through, then sent screenshots to the group chat, turning his head to discuss with Bai Lian. "It's a bit complicated. Everyone needs to work overtime tonight and can't sleep." They only had 1 day left to bring the model into their analysis, write it out, and get familiar with the presentation. They couldn't finish it without working overtime. "I know." Bai Lian's gaze remained fixed on the computer screen as he continued to type. "You guys start the analysis. Just send the results to me and Wang Xu." The two discussed the follow-up arrangements. Wang Xu likewise saw the screenshots Ning Xiao sent to the group chat, gradually changing from despair to shock, and finally to delight. "Ning Xiao, you guys are incredible. Where did you get the model from?" The others also picked up their phones, opened the screenshots sent by Ning Xiao, and downloaded the zip file Bai Lian posted in the group chat. Ning Xiao didn't reply, simply looked towards Bai Lian. Wang Xu and the others instantly understood that the model came from Bai Lian. They exchanged glances and finally realized why Ning Xiao and Tang Ming followed Bai Lian's lead. "Bai Lian, you are my savior." Wang Xu slammed his fist down hard on the desk. "From now on, your business is my business." Bai Lian, savior? Who exactly is taking advantage of whom? At this moment, to call it a life-saving situation wouldn't be an exaggeration. Everyone sat down to start downloading the zip file. Wang Xu walked over to Song Min, casually rubbing his right fist before reclaiming his computer. After catching Song Min's glance, Wang Xu lowered his voice. "First, take a look at the messages in the group chat. Bai Lian has found us a model." Song Min looked down at his phone. The model Bai Lian, and he when created, was no small matter. The more one understood about mathematical modeling, the more they could see its value. Song Min could also tell that the model was vastly different from the one they were planning to build. Like everyone else, the more he looked, the more astonished he became. Was this the model Bai Lian brought out? Song Min turned his head to look at Bai Lian's profile. Where did she get the model from, and who exactly did she know? Did the Xu family have such wide connections? Forget the fish soup. Pei Chin also looked up at Song Min. If she wants to drink phoenix soup, I'll go back and have my family think of a way. Wang Xu nodded in agreement. Exactly, riding to class on my back tomorrow wouldn't be a problem for her. Reminded by Pei Chin's words, Song Min couldn't help but recall their earlier conversation. For the first time, the usually aloof and arrogant Song Min from Baikeng felt embarrassed. He had been self-congratulatory about working on the model, even thinking the other party lacked awareness and didn't understand the situation, failing to contribute to the team. Looking back, trying to make an impossible model in 1 day was the real foolish move, wasn't it? So, where exactly had she gotten this model from? Song Min resettled into his seat, but his heart remained somewhat unsettled. Su En's residence. I have a feeling she would like this style. He handed back the blueprint to Ji Mulan. Aren't you expecting other classmates? Didn't you say you have an old acquaintance in Jiangjing? The clan had reserved a study table for Ji Mulan, but Ji Mulan hadn't invited any classmates, only members of the Song family. Bai Lian, on the other hand, had invited 2 classmates. Ji Mulan took the blueprints back. No! She turned and returned to the study. Behind her, Su En looked at Ji Mulan's retreating figure, quite surprised. Having moved out to live with Ji Mulan in a 3-story house, he had prepared rooms for Su Weniao, Su Jiu, and Bai Lian. They had made the rooms ready before their return to Xiancheng. Ji Mulan had designed each child's room according to their preferences. The room prepared for Bai Lian was originally cyberpunk style, but after returning from Xiancheng, it was clear Bai Lian had a preference for Chinese-style items. Su En couldn't quite picture Bai Lian, dressed in horse-face skirts, standing at a cyberpunk bar. So Ji Mulan changed the design. However, Su-en felt the design for Bai Lian's room was really cool. He thought for a moment, and then went upstairs to the room prepared for Bai Lian and turned on the light. A huge blue ring light hung from the ceiling, with 7 irregularly shaped concentric rings from inside to outside, taking up a large area. At the intersection of the outermost ring nearest to the door, it bulged outward all the way to the edge of the door. Alongside transparent glass cube segments, lit one after another from top to bottom, they illuminated all the way down to the bar. The other people present weren't much different from him. After reading a section, they had to look up the professional vocabulary. The report was over a dozen pages long with many charts included, and it took these people half an hour and they were still not done. Bai Shaoqi cast a curious glance. She couldn't understand it. She stood up, told Song Min before leaving Boyuan base, since everyone else was busy poring over the report. Another half an hour later, Pei Qin and Ning Xiao were the first to finish reading the report. Pei Qin looked at Wang Xu in shock. How did you manage this? Bai Lian wasn't there that evening, and everyone knew she typed slowly, so they all assumed it was Wang Xu's own work. It's really simple, Wang Xu said, looking at Pei Qin and shrugging. You! Tang Ming was also shocked. Versailles? No, Wang Xu smiled. Control+C, Control+V. Don't you know how to do that? Control+C, Control+V. Copy and paste. Song Min frowned. This is clearly our data. Where did you copy and paste from? Wasn't I working on a paper with Sister Bai? Wang Xu looked at the computer screen. Sister Bai had the content all sorted out, but the formatting was a complete mess. Although the content I worked with was barely presentable, at least my formatting was correct, so I pasted her content into my format. So, all of this, Pei Qin and Song Min were even more astonished, was written by her. How could she know so much? On site, probably only Ning Xiao remained composed. If the group knew what Bai Lian had been looking at every day, they wouldn't be so surprised. Having started viewing summaries every day since her senior year of high school, professional terms were second nature to her, and the overarching direction of her research was similar to the summaries she read. How could someone with such a big-picture outlook not write well? The next day, academic report, held in the lecture hall. Academic reports by high school students in the past wouldn't attract many professors, but today, a row of them sat in the back along with experts. As the students entered the classroom, they were engulfed by the solemn atmosphere. None dared to look back. Academician Ma, Wang Xu, grabbing Tang Ming's arm in excitement, said, Did you see Academician Ma sitting in the center? He actually came to listen to our presentation. Members of other groups were also abuzz. He must have come for Dr. Gao. At 7:50, Gao Jiachin arrived. He first approached Academician Ma and respectfully greeted him. Academician Ma, thank you for coming. Academician Ma looked up and nodded slightly. Next to him, other big shots from the physics department also greeted Gao Jiachin. Bright future ahead. 8 o'clock. The first group went up to present, and it was Liang Wuyu's group, with Liang Wuyu as the presenter. Everyone, including the row of professors at the back, listened attentively. This is Liang Wuyu, indeed someone who has been in the lab. In a few years, she could compete with He Wen. The professors nodded in agreement, and the professor sitting on the edge, who had lectured Bai Lian and the others on the first day, scribbled a high score, 90. This was an affirmation of Liang Wuyu. After this group finished, it was Ling Xiao's group's turn, and overall they were much worse than Liang Wuyu's group, resulting in the people at the back losing interest. Gao Jiachin, as their training teacher, gave a score of 81. Subsequent presentations were worse than the one before. Director Huang, the professor sitting on the edge, whispered to the middle-aged man next to him, Do you think your teacher really came for Gao Jiachin? They hadn't found anything particularly noteworthy in this academic report after so long. Only Liang Wuyu's group had been somewhat impressive. The middle-aged man paused before glancing at the director sitting in the center. Well, maybe the teacher just wanted to see the new generation in action. Ah, it's the last group now. Let's listen first. He straightened up. Someone handed out the last group's paper report to each professor. Although Director Huang spoke of listening to the presentation, he hadn't actually flipped through the report, and neither had the other professors. Truthfully, they hadn't bothered to look at the papers after the first group. Accustomed to Jiangjing's group of graduate and doctoral students' papers, and having seen countless SCI papers, the reports by these high school seniors were riddled with too many flaws, with nothing worthwhile to explore. The more they read, the more they felt the need to cleanse their eyes, and it was troubling. Director Huang's colleague casually tossed the report aside and then looked up to see a girl stepping onto the stage. The classroom was well heated, and the girl wore a somewhat thick white cross-collared shirt with dark bamboo leaves embroidered on it, paired with a black and gold brocade horse-face skirt that rippled with gold as she moved. A black wooden hairpin was at the back of her head, and her hair was all tied up, revealing a long, slender neck. She went up with a USB drive and bent over to open their group's PowerPoint presentation. The speaker was Bai Lian because only she was familiar with these professional terms. Wang Xu had created the PowerPoint, and Bai Lian had already gone over it several times before. In the middle, Ling Xiao glanced at Wang Xu, looking at Bai Lian and the others with a sarcastic gaze. Wang Xu glared back coldly at Ling Xiao. Song Min was somewhat distrustful, an expression of skepticism that he had harbored towards Bai Lian all his life. Letting her present, "Are you sure there won't be any mistakes?" With that said, those who didn't know Bai Lian, such as Wang Xu, also quietly asked Tang Ming, "Right, I just heard Liang Wuyu's voice shaking. Can she handle it?" This, Pei Qin had felt uncertain the night before, but now he was also worried. If I had known there would be so many people today, I would have let Ning Xiao or Song Min present. They obviously didn't know that the Ma Institute fellows and many professors would be coming. Such pressure was not something ordinarily bearable. While these people were worried, Tang Ming just smiled. If she can't handle it, then no one else here can. His tone was somewhat proud. Song Min looked at Tang Ming in surprise. On the podium, after the PowerPoint appeared, Bai Lian bowed to the professors and students before starting today's presentation. We adjust parameter space using Berry phase and Berry curvature to achieve lossless quantum bit transitions between different energy levels. She hardly glanced at the PowerPoint behind her. Standing slightly to the side at the podium, she held the USB drive in one hand, casually pointing at the PowerPoint behind her. Each time the USB drive landed, it corresponded with the line of text or the chart she was discussing. Clad in white top and black skirt, with a casual look in her eyes and the vigor of youth in her gesture. While everyone was still captivated by her poise, Director Huang finally reacted, hurriedly flipping through the paper in his hands, comparing the textual description on it. Then he looked up in astonishment. Wait, this model? Could it really be the work of high school students? Next to Director Huang, the professor was listening very attentively, but Gao Jiaqin, who was sitting on the other side, frowned when Bai Lian got to the model part of her presentation, squinting at Bai Lian. 20 minutes. Bai Lian finished her presentation, her right hand behind her back, and she bent forward slightly. Thank you, teachers and fellow students. Down in the audience, Wang Xu gave her a thumbs up, but Ling Xiao was filled with disbelief. Bowing their heads, Liang Wuyu and Su Jiu also looked up at the PowerPoint, with Su Jiu not taking her eyes off Bai Lian. Teacher, I think their group did really well, said Director Huang, who hadn't commented before, to the Ma Institute fellow. He seemed to understand why his teacher was there. What do you think? The Ma Institute fellow hummed in response, giving his brief critique. The others were still quietly discussing. Hearing the Ma Institute fellow's hum, it was like setting off an explosion. Bai Lian straightened up, just about to return to her seat. Wait, from the crowd. Gao Jiaqin stood up and looked at Bai Lian with a sharp gaze. I should have mentioned before that the model requires hands-on involvement. Are you sure you participated in the model you presented? As soon as he said this, the bustling classroom suddenly fell silent. In the back row, Director Huang breathed a sigh of relief and said to the professor beside him, I knew it. Where would students be so skilled? Fortunately, it wasn't these students' work. The professor nodded. Regardless, the use of terms in this paper is impressive indeed. It shows that they've researched the reviews and the papers. In the middle seats, Wang Xu looked up dumbfounded, asking Tang Ming, Is that a rule? Before this, Gao Jiachin had not mentioned any such regulation, which is why they collaborated with Ling Xiao. Pei Qin saw it very clearly and narrowed his eyes calmly. Whether there is or isn't, now that Dr. Gao has said so, it means there is. What should we do? Wang Xu's excitement fell. Behind them, Ling Xiao spoke up a bit too loudly. To think they got the model from someone else, teacher, that shouldn't count towards the final score, right? Director Huang and the others were also stunned, looking at each other with puzzled expressions. They had originally planned to give Bai Lian a high score. Dr. Gao, as long as someone from our group participated in the model, that would be acceptable, right? Bai Lian leaned on the podium with one hand, her eyes slightly squinted. Gao Jiachin glanced at her and said in a grave voice, "Indeed, but you're not going to tell me you were involved, are you?" "Correct." Bai Lian raised her eyebrows. As Director Huang was just about to drink water, he choked on it again. Looking up in shock, he thought, could you really be that exceptional? You think a new paper wouldn't quickly come to someone's attention, that no one would notice. This model, it was included in a paper published by He Wen at 11 o'clock yesterday morning. Gao Jiachin had always considered He Wen a rival. He didn't understand why He Wen could go places he couldn't, so he always kept an eye on his every move, studying whatever He Wen studied. Once He Wen published a paper, Gao Jiachin was among the first to know. "You're not going to tell me that you wrote that paper, are you?" he asked Bai Lian, almost scoffing. Students are so blatant with their dishonesty these days. The entire classroom fell silent. In the back row, all the professors grew serious, their expressions stern. Not having made the model oneself is understandable, but claiming to have done so would mean a problem with one's character. It raises serious concerns about academic integrity. "Of course, I didn't write it." Bai Lian shook her head. Just as Ling Xiao was about to laugh, she spoke again, unhurriedly. "However, I did indeed participate in the modeling process. If you look at the authors listed after the title, you should see my name. My name is Bai Lian." According to He Wen, she and another student were both listed as second authors. As a second author, her name would naturally appear on the paper. The model was created by herself. The whole report is professional in terminology, logical, 99 points. Amidst the endless reversals, a somewhat numbed professor awarded a high score. The reason for not giving a full score was because everyone still has room for improvement. "Thank you, Professor," Bai Lian bowed in thanks. With that, the last group of students finished their presentation. The professors stood up one by one and started to leave the room. The back door was open, but all the professors exited through the front door, nodding and greeting Bai Lian with kindness as they passed her. This was a student who was able to participate in particle wave modeling as early as high school. She might very well be the next He Wen. Once outside, the professors began to discuss quietly among themselves. Who is she? Why have we never heard of her before? That shouldn't be the case. When He Wen was in high school, he was so exceptional that Jiangjing's affiliate high school even poached him. But Bai Lian truly emerged out of nowhere. "Academician Ma," Gao Jiachin finally snapped back to reality. He put away his phone and followed Academician Ma out. All the professors had left. The classroom was still very quiet. No one made a sound, including Ling Xiao. Bai Lian hadn't brought anything with her today. She went to her seat, picked up the down jacket on the chair, and slowly put it on. Seeing that Wang Xu and the others still did not react, she gave Ning Xiao a look and then left first. Once she had left, Wang Xu finally came back to his senses. He glanced at Pei Qin on his left, then at Tang Ming on his right. Pei Qin, Tang Ming, did you hear anything just now?" Wang Xu was grasping Tang Ming's wrist. Pei Qin, who usually had a strong mental fortitude, couldn't help but entertain the same incredulous thoughts as Wang Xu at this moment. It felt akin to a friend with whom you eat at street stalls, suddenly telling you casually one day that she just talked about a partnership with Bill Gates. "Bai Lian, she worked with your idol on a mathematical model. The one we're using is the very model they collaborated on." On the main roadway of Boyuan Base, Gao Jiachin followed Academician Ma out. "Academician Ma, are you leaving already?" Seeing that it was him, the professor next to Academician Ma smiled and made room for Gao Jiachin. "Do you have something to discuss?" Academician Ma stopped. The majority assumed that Academician Ma had come for Gao Jiachin himself included. He blurted out subconsciously, "Weren't you here specially for the academic presentation today?" "Of course not." Academician Ma slightly furrowed his brows. "I was here to inspect Boyuan Base." Upon these words, the gaze that the PhD students next to him cast on Gao Jiachin turned peculiar. There had been rumors at Jiangjing University before about Academician Ma visiting Boyuan Base twice for Gao Jiachin's sake. Gao Jiachin's face stiffened, and he gave an awkward smile as he stepped aside. "Professor," Director Huang followed behind Academician Ma, "before coming here today, I really thought you had the intention of letting Gao Jiachin enter the lab." Academician Ma commented indifferently, "Too superficial." Director Huang had to suppress a laugh upon hearing this. In the past 2 years, Gao Jiachin had been quite prominent, and after returning from studying abroad this year, he had won 3 awards. His research projects and papers were on 2 different topics. Academician Ma came alone to the PR office, waiting for Bai Lian. He didn't wait long. Bai Lian arrived within 10 minutes. "Okay." Bai Lian received it with her hand. The door of the PR office was open. She stood against the sunlight, her attitude calm and casual. The academic circle is not friendly to women. Before Bai Lian could command everyone's respect with her abilities as he when had, Academician Ma would not thrust her into the limelight, nor did he wish all her subsequent research to be questioned as having the Academician Ma label. It's just that there are too many impetuous people in the circle now. But what he didn't expect was that Bai Lian, a high school senior, seemed to carry an air of lofty disdain mixed with calm composure. He had visited Boyuan twice, and the rumors about his coming to see Gao Jiachin were rampant in Jiangjing University. But not a single piece of information had leaked about the person he was truly observing. She could stand strong on her own without leaning on anyone else's momentum. "Have you visited Jiangjing University yet?" Academician Ma, showing a rare warmth, looked at Bai Lian. Bai Lian looked up, arching an eyebrow. "Not yet." "How come you haven't gone? There are many places worth seeing inside." Academician Ma was surprised. "Can't you get in? I can get you a temporary pass." "I don't." Bai Lian raised her hand in refusal. "I want to get in on my own by passing the exam." Ziojiang. Su En remembered that this was the same person who went fishing with Jai Heng and the others last time. "Uncle, do you have an acquaintance here?" "Where are they?" "I'll have my assistant go down to receive them." "No need, you're busy." Jai Shaojun waved his hand. "I'm going down to bring Zio up, I know the way." Shen Qing followed him. "I'll go with you." The two left the cafeteria. Director Wang looked at Jai Heng with surprise. The Jai family had acquaintances in Jiangjing. However, since today Su En brought Jai Heng and the others to visit the Su family, inviting an acquaintance over at this time was not unexpected. People like Director Wang, who navigated the business world, often thought more deeply. "Then, Mr. Su, your family is busy, so I will head back to hand over my work." Director Wang said goodbye politely. As for the Jai family people, acquaintances, Director Wang didn't care. After everyone had left, Su En turned to look at Jai Heng. "Uncle Jai, Weniao will send you this afternoon." The museum that Weniao had booked for Jai Heng and the others was this afternoon. Su En was letting Weniao take them. "No need," Jai Heng waved his hand. "We can go by ourselves." Su En frowned slightly. Why did he feel that the Jai family people were somewhat polite to Su Weniao all day today? He let Jai Heng walk ahead while he fell 2 steps behind and took out his phone to send a message to Su Weniao, asking about the matter. Jiangjing University. Su Weniao, who had just taken his car keys and stepped out of the dorm building, received the message from Su En, and his expression became serious. "I'll come back right away. Please help me explain to Mr. Jai and the others." Having said that, he found his car and drove to the Su family. On the way, he received a call from Qi Xian. "Weniao," Qi Xian's voice held a hint of coquettishness. "Come to my house to pick me up, okay? My dad asked me to give you the tickets for Academician Ma's event." The tickets for Academician Ma's lecture were scarce among undergraduates. They were mostly given to postgraduates and above. Su Weniao had also participated in the university's sign-up, but he hadn't managed to get one. However, it wasn't surprising for the Qi family to get tickets. Weniao just patiently explained to Qi Xian, "Xian, I told you yesterday that I am taking them to the museum today." "Are you serious?" Qi Xian's tone changed instantly as she sat up. "Last time you were running errands for them. This time you're playing the tour guide. You have more patience with them than with me." "Xian, they've come all the way to Jiangjing. It just means you don't care about me enough." Qi Xian was the only girl in 3 generations of the Qi family, spoiled and pampered from a young age. Su Weniao pulled the car over to the side of the road, massaging his forehead. "Listen to me, my dad previously in Xiancheng." "I don't care," Qi Xian cut in. "If you don't come pick me up, I'll tear up the tickets." Su Weniao was silent for a long time. "Qi Xian, do you really think I'm after your tickets?" Perhaps it was because he had never used such a serious tone before. Even when she brought up breaking up, he had managed to speak to her nicely. It was the first time that Weniao, who had always indulged her, had such an attitude. "You know that's not what I mean," Qi Xian frowned. "I'm driving." Su Weniao restarted the car. "Let's hang up for now." "You do have time." Su Xiuji, wearing suit trousers and holding documents, stepped out of the car and gave Su Weniao a once-over. "You're actually accompanying them to the museum." Su Weniao nodded slightly, his eyes soft but shadowed by faint clouds today. "Would you like to join us?" "No, thank you." Su Xiuji refused outright. "But Xian went to see your grandmother." "Be careful, your grandmother will definitely want to talk to you tonight." "I got it." Su Weniao hadn't expected that Su Xiuji would be informed of this so quickly after driving to the Su family. Su Xiuji trusted Su Weniao to handle things responsibly and didn't say more. Yu Guang saw Su En escorting Jai Heng and the others down from the building. Jai Heng, Jai Shaojun, Shen Qing, and next to them was a 7 or 8-year-old boy. He wore a red cotton jacket, the large pockets on both sides embroidered with cabbage designs that didn't match the jacket, long eyelashes, delicate features, but with a somewhat blank expression, like a child from a New Year painting. "Who is that?" Su Xiuji asked in surprise. Su Weniao thought for a moment. "A friend of Alien's." Su Xiuji nodded and asked no more. "Uncle Weniao just happens to have time," Su En said with a smile to Jai Heng. "Let the kid take you there, he can show you the way." Now that Su Weniao was there, Jai Heng found it hard to say no this time. "The wedding is in 2 days, and you're still at the company." After the car left, Su Xiuji finally turned to look at Su En. "But they have one friend after another, one acquaintance after another. How many relatives are they planning to bring this time?" Boyuan Base was established by the renowned mathematician Jiu Boyuan, who has significant international influence in Jiangjing. Programs like Boyuan Base and the Wenchang Plan are only known to a part of the top students. Naturally, Shen Qing and the arts-focused Jai Shaojun have no idea about them. When Shen Qing asked the question fearfully, Su Weniao also became somewhat confused. Was Shen Qing so nervous because she believed Boyuan to be an unlawful place? If Boyuan Base found out, they would likely feel quite helpless. "No," Su Weniao turned around, explaining to Shen Qing as gently as possible. "Boyuan Base is the most famous summer camp in Jiangjing. Generally, only top students can get in." Top students. As Su Weniao mentioned these 3 words, Shen Qing was also perplexed. She remembered Bai Lian's persona in Baikeng, a woman of no academic or artistic merit, similar in character to Ji Mulan. When Bai Lian first came to Xiancheng, Shen Qing disdained her. Only later did she find out that Bai Lian was different from Ji Mulan. But what does top student have to do with Bai Lian? Noticing Shen Qing's confusion, Su Weniao calmed down, started the car again, and followed the navigation onto the main road. "So, Alien, studies there." The Jai family always said that Bai Lian was studying hard. Su Weniao and Su En both thought she was at the library, since the Jiangjing library is well stocked. Su Weniao even considered advising Bai Lian to study there. But was she at Boyuan Base? "She studies at Boyuan Base." Jai Heng lowered the car window slightly, letting the cold wind blow in, and also doubted in his mind. Is that really a place only for top students? Their family never brought up grades in front of Bai Lian. Ji Heng and Ji Shaojun always thought that Bai Shaok and Bai Shaoki had impacted Bai Lian too much. She even switched to science for them, so they tried to avoid mentioning such sad topics. And as for Bai Lian, the more she learned about modern knowledge, the more she realized how superficial her own understanding was. They didn't ask, and she never told her scores. Only Jiang Fulai would ask her. Yes, Su Weniao nodded. He looked at the rearview mirror quietly, feeling for the first time that even his usually steady family could be unreliable. Asking them wouldn't yield any information, but Su Weniao suddenly remembered the message Su Jiu sent him last time, mentioning a very attractive girl at the special training class. At the time, Su Weniao didn't care about that message, but now recalling it. The museum was on the edge of Ximen District, some distance from Chang'an District, but luckily there was still time before traffic jams, so it took nearly 40 minutes to reach Boyuan Base. As soon as Su Weniao parked the car by the roadside, he saw Bai Lian coming out of Boyuan Base. It wasn't just Su Weniao. Ji Heng and the other three were also quite silent, except for Jiang He, who was watching Bai Lian with shining eyes. Ji Shaojun handed back the candied haw to Jiang He, then silently offered it to Bai Lian. Jiang He had eaten 3 haws off the stick, revealing its pointed end. When they got on the car, Ji Shaojun had taken away the candied haw. Bai Lian looked down at the candied haw, pausing for a moment, not taking it immediately. Not eating? Ji Shaojun asked. It was during the memorial service when he saw them laid out, and upon coming out, he saw Jiang He wanting to eat them, so he had bought some for the kids as well. Regaining her senses, Bai Lian took the candied haw, looked up, and gave Ji Shaojun a rare warm smile. I'll eat. It had been a long time since an elder bought her one. Ji Shaojun pondered to himself. Alien. Shen Qing could never keep her thoughts to herself. Weniao said that this place is only for top students, is that right? Yes, Ji Shaojun added from the side. Weniao said that to be admitted here, students must be exceptionally talented, with most even having the potential to compete for the national top exam scores. Su Weniao nodded. No, Bai Lian was well aware of her current abilities. She was still far behind in biology and chemistry. I can't compare to them. She unhurriedly unwrapped the candy haw stick. A very honest answer. Next to her, Jiang He stopped munching on his candied haw and looked up at Bai Lian in disbelief. I knew it, Shen Qing nodded, then seemed a bit regretful. You just shifted from arts to science. How could you suddenly become a top student? But that's okay, alien. We take things one step at a time. Their emotions were like riding a roller coaster. The 3 of them didn't understand, but Su Weniao knew very well about Boyuan's system. Although the hardest part to get into Boyuan is the recommendation, one still needs to reach a certain score to enter, applying 2 months in advance. I hadn't reached the standard. My comprehensive science wasn't passing at that time, Bai Lian said nonchalantly, but I've always had perfect scores in math, so Boyuan made an exception and let me in. Su Weniao was extremely shocked. Math perfect score. Exceptional admission. Bai Lian looked at Su Weniao with surprise, not really understanding his expression. Yeah. There were many students at Boyuan Base more rounded than her, and the tests she took were only C-level, not a big deal, right? Su Weniao? No, to be admitted by Boyuan as an exception, one must have the caliber to at least get into Jiangjing University. Hadn't the Ji family always stated that Bai Lian's grades were poor? Especially Ji Mulan, worried that Bai Lian couldn't get into university, was even planning to send her to an international high school and arrange for her to study abroad. You're suggesting someone who could get a direct admission to Jiangjing University attend a private international high school. Su Weniao felt that Ji Mulan was being ridiculous. If you can get into Boyuan Base, you should know about the Wen Chong plan. Were you offered a direct admission to Jiangjing University? Su Weniao couldn't help asking. This was what shocked him. Mentioning Boyuan Base, the 3 from the Ji family were able to restrain themselves. But as soon as Jiangjing University was brought up, Shen Qing couldn't hold back any longer. Jiangjing University. She could get a direct admission to Jiangjing University. This was a school Shen Qing didn't even dare to dream of. When Bai Shaok was admitted to Jiangjing University, The Bai family had the media release news for 2 months straight. And now, Su Weniao was saying Bai Lian could get a direct admission to Jiangjing University. Oh, that! Bai Lian understood the point of Su Weniao's shock and calmly explained. I didn't join. I plan to take the college entrance examination. What? Su Weniao frowned. Didn't your school tell you about the Wen Chong plan? They did. Bai Lian bit into her candied haw and explained leisurely, but I don't like the major they offered. Su Weniao, who heard someone being picky about Jiangjing University for the first time. He involuntarily shifted his gaze to the other 3 members of the Ji family. Alien, are you really going to take the college entrance exam? Ji Heng positioned himself behind Shen and the other one, in a good mood. He lit a cigarette and took a puff with squinted eyes. Bai Lian twirled the candied haw stick in her hand. Yes. When Bai Lian switched her major from arts to sciences, neither Ji Heng nor Ji Shaojun had ultimately stopped her. Now she chose not to join the Wen Chong plan, and the two still did not interfere with Bai Lian's choice. As for Shen Qing, she thought even Bai Lian skating on the street was a good thing, so what could anyone expect from her? Su Weniao drove back to the Su family in a disheveled state. Ji Heng and the other 2, along with Jiang He and Bai Lian, toured the Boyuan base and then went to the base's cafeteria for dinner before taking the bus back to the hotel. Bai Lian saw the group out the gate before she returned to the classroom. On the way, she connected her Bluetooth headset and launched her vocabulary app to start memorizing technical terms. A message from Chief Chen popped up on the home screen of her phone. Chief Chen, Miss Bai, I have just returned to Jiangjing. He took the time to return 2 days before Su En's wedding. Chief Chen, tomorrow I'll go ice fishing with Uncle Jai. Would you like to join us? Tomorrow morning she has classes, and in the afternoon there is a lecture by an academician from the Ma Institute. Bai Lian listened to vocabulary words while slowly responding. No time. You guys have fun. Chief Chen was a bit disappointed. All right then. Bai Lian's study group. Wang Xu finally couldn't help but ask Tang Ming, where did Sister Bai go? After the academic report ended at noon, Bai Lian hadn't returned. Normally, everyone didn't care what Bai Lian did, but today, everyone was too agitated to settle down for studies since Bai Lian and He Wen had worked on a mathematical model together, especially Wang Xu. While focusing on a research paper, Tang Ming answered without lifting his head. She was practicing the piano in the dormitory in the afternoon. She should be coming over soon. Whenever Bai Lian had an inspiration, she quickly noted it down. Practicing the piano and reading reviews were her ways to relax between solving problems. Practicing the piano. Wang Xu couldn't associate the activity with Bai Lian. Why is she practicing the piano? Not just the others, but even Song Min found it outrageous. Not to mention that students at Boyuan Base wouldn't usually spend time practicing the piano. Song Min also remembered something Bai Kaiming once said. The incident of Bai Lian sleeping through her zither lesson and driving her teacher away had become a joke among the Bai family members. As they were talking, the door was gently pushed open. The study group members, gathered around a couple of tables, all snapped their heads up and stared intently at the classroom door. Bai Lian, memorizing vocabulary with lowered eyes, casually closed the classroom door with her phone. Seeing Bai Lian's return, Wang Xu was the first to grow restless. Sister Bai, how come you and Senior He Wen worked on a mathematical model together? Do you two actually know each other? How come you never mentioned it before? With his question, everyone's gaze was fixated on Bai Lian, especially Song Min, who quietly watched her. He had always doubted her ability to get into Boyuan. Until today, He Wen was someone he looked up to with great admiration. In front of He Wen, even Bai Shaok, the pride of the Bai family, was just an ordinary person. He never imagined that Bai Lian would actually know He Wen. Bai Lian took a seat between Tang Ming and Ning Xiao. Not really acquainted, just online friends. He had a model but couldn't find a collaborator, so he asked me. I see, Wang Xu nodded, somewhat understanding. After all, that was He Wen, someone you couldn't just meet if you wanted to. Why would he look for you? Song Min gazed deeply at Bai Lian as he asked. Bai Lian ignored Song Min. Beside her, Tang Ming, with his legs crossed and his right hand resting on the table, glanced at Song Min. Sister Bai always gets full marks in math. Why do you think he would look for her? She scored full marks in mathematics? Song Min's mind exploded instantaneously. He finally found an explanation for the oddity he had always felt. No wonder Bai Lian said she didn't care about the spot back then in Xiancheng. No wonder he had seen her at the Boyuan base. The full score in mathematics that had been looming over him since the midterms, almost becoming his shadow. Was it Bai Lian? He knew both Tang Ming and Ning Xiao were from Xiancheng No One High School. Finally catching onto something, he pressed his hand against the table and stood up. So, the one who scored 150 in mathematics in the last joint exam was her. What about this time's mathematics and the science comprehensive? At the base, he had also interacted with Ning Xiao, who was good at both math and physics, especially physics. Therefore, Song Min had always thought that Ning Xiao was the one who scored 150. Yes, Tang Ming didn't understand why Song Min was reacting so strongly and jumped in shock. He hesitantly began. Of course, the math was Sister Lion, but the first place in science comprehensive was Ning Xiao. Learning that Bai Lian wasn't first in science comprehensive, Song Min let out a huge sigh of relief. However, the next second, he felt the pressure come crashing in like a tide from all directions. 150 points. Her mathematics was that good. He looked up, staring blankly in Bai Lian's direction. Su family. Director Wang had someone deliver the New Year's gifts to the old lady before saying goodbye. Old Madam, President Su, Miss Chi, I have to go abroad tomorrow and am paying an early New Year visit now. The day after tomorrow was Su En's wedding, and he was leaving the country tomorrow. Old Madam Su had no objections to Director Wang's actions. In fact, she even seemed to encourage it, saying with a smile, I appreciate your thoughtfulness. Su En nodded at Director Wang without a word. After delivering the gifts, Director Wang left the Su family residence. As he was walking out, he happened to see Su Weniao's car. Xiaocan, go to the company tomorrow to check on things, said Director Wang as he got into his car, not even lifting his head to the driver. Find out what's going on with the Sus, and you, the proposals are revised again and still the same, showing no progress at all. The driver Xiaocan was honest and simple, not daring to speak up against Director Wang's criticism. He was an employee of the company, not a driver, but today, even on his day off, he had been called in by Director Wang to act as his driver. With a car loan and a mortgage to pay, a son in high school, a wife undergoing chemotherapy, and both sets of parents to support, he dared not speak out against his boss's abuse and didn't dare to quit his job. Inside the house, old Madam Su looked at Su En. I told you to bring Bai Lian here before the wedding. Why have there been no developments? The old lady still hadn't given up. She doesn't have time, Su En replied calmly, though he actually hadn't mentioned it to Bai Lian at all. No time? Old Madam Su scoffed. She didn't believe it for a second. Bai Lian didn't have time. But at that moment, she had other things to think about, glancing at Su En. When Weniao gets here, you speak to him properly. He's not replying to Cheyenne's messages, and you've seen how upset Cheyenne is getting. As she spoke, she also reached out to pat Chi Cheyenne's hand, saying very kindly, Cheyenne dear, don't worry, Grandma will handle it for you. Chi Cheyenne sat next to old Madam Su. Her eyes were a bit red. Su En, however, remained silent. Almost as soon as old Madam Su finished speaking, Su Weniao returned home. Weniao! Old Madam Su stood up upon seeing that Su En wasn't saying anything. Now that Cheyenne is here, you should apologize to her quickly. What's with all this conflict between young lovers? She laughed, playing the mediator. Chi Cheyenne turned her head away, refusing to look at Su Weniao. Every time they argued, Su Weniao was the first to give in, whether it was a big matter like today's conflict or a small one, like the tone of his WeChat replies. The Su family and the Chi family originally had something akin to a business marriage. The Su family was wealthy, while the Chi family was influential in the educational sector. Su Weniao had never had a girlfriend before Chi Cheyenne, who was both his first and only one. Usually, he tried his best to do whatever Chi Cheyenne asked, but now he was tired. I don't think I'm wrong in this matter, he said frankly. Setting aside the fact that the Ji family had helped Su En in Xiangcheng before, now that Ji Mulan was to marry Su En, and the Ji family was coming to Jiangjing for the first time, they had to show the proper courtesy. Qi Xian, standing beside old Madame Su, suddenly stood up. Then, without looking back, she ran out of the Su family's main gate. Xian! Xian! Old Madame Su, holding her cane, tried to follow her out but ultimately couldn't catch up. Su Weniao, what on earth are you thinking? Old Madame Su beat her cane forcefully against the floor. Do you know Xian came to give you event tickets? Wouldn't she have given them to you if you had said one soft word? What's wrong with a boy sweet-talking a girl a bit? Su Weniao didn't want to talk. He headed straight upstairs, towards the last room on the hall, and knocked on the door. The door opened a crack, and a short-haired girl peeked out stealthily, asking Su Weniao in a low voice, "Have all the guests downstairs left?" Of course, they would also get to know more experts and scholars. Teacher Jiang, how many do you need? That meant there were still some left. Bai Lian had originally thought that his 10 tickets wouldn't be enough to go around, so she hadn't asked him for any. But hearing him say this, she was no longer polite. Bai Lian, 3. Bai Lian, where are you? I will come to pick them up later. She asked for one each on behalf of Tang Ming, Ning Xiao, and Su Weniao. To understand his lecture, one would need a certain academic foundation. Tang Ming might not understand it, but it would be good for him to broaden his horizons. On the other end of the phone, Jiang Fulai raised an eyebrow and only replied with 2 words. Wait. Today there was a lecture by academician Ma, and Director Huang ended today's class at 11 o'clock. As soon as he left, the students in the class also got up, ready to leave. Do you know why Professor Huang left so early? In the front, Ling Xiao and his group were talking. I heard there's a very important lecture today. Ling Xiao glanced over at Wang Xu and Bai Lian, failing to detect any emotion on their faces. He left the room sullenly. Su Jiu, who had been sitting in his place looking repeatedly towards Bai Lian, wanted to approach her, but seeing so many people around her, he didn't dare to come forward. In the end, Bai Lian disappeared at the door. Su Jiu. It was a bit early, but Ning Xiao and the others were still ready to go for a meal first. You guys go eat, Bai Lian said lazily, holding her backpack and gripping her phone. I'm going out for a bit. Jiang Fulai had arrived. The others were used to Bai Lian's mysterious comings and goings. Ever since that model came out, not just Ning Xiao and Tang Ming, even Pei Qin started calling her sis. Song Min lagged behind, unusually silent these past few days. After watching Bai Lian walk towards the gate, he held his phone and paused in place, but eventually he still followed her. Bai Lian always walked slowly, so it didn't take long for Song Min to catch up to her. Bai Lian, he called out to her, a few steps behind. If this was the Bai Lian of the past, upon hearing his voice she would have stopped. But now Bai Lian didn't even break stride. The sense of disparity was profound. Song Min pursed his lips slightly and quickened his pace, walking in front of Bai Lian to block her path. Classmate Bai Lian. Bai Lian took a step back. Her down jacket had been taken by Shen Qing for cleaning, and what she wore over her green shirt today was a white, double-layered, embroidered cashmere vest with straight collars and lapels embroidered with plum blossoms and falling petals. A belt in the same color scheme was loosely tied around her waist. Stopped by someone, she simply looked up indifferently, her ink-black eyes sweeping over Song Min. The golden sunlight accentuated her beautiful face, with a look of annoyance. Are you sick? Is it illegal to beat someone up at the Boyuan base? Classmate Bai Lian, Song Min snapped out of it, feeling cold as it was his first time stopping someone. He looked at the Bai Lian who was completely different from his memory. Your mathematics! Jiang Fulai had just entered the school gates when he saw this irritating scene. The girl stood there coldly, her lazy face covered with a layer of irritation, like a cat basking in the sun but disturbed by someone. Excuse me, move aside, Jiang Fulai said indifferently. Song Min hadn't finished speaking when he felt a cold breeze behind him, followed by an icy voice that mixed with a scrutiny that was hard to ignore. Despite the path being 2 meters wide, Song Min instinctively stepped to the left to make way. Only then did he see the person who had just spoken, a man dressed in a severe black coat with a casual beige fluffy scarf around his neck. Despite the lack of expression on his face, when his gaze swept over, Song Min felt like an invisible hand had grabbed his insides tightly. It took his breath away. He turned noticeably pale. Ran into a fool. Bai Lian's impatience disappeared as she looked at Jiang Fulai with irritation. Jiang Fulai glanced at Song Min from the corner of his eye and walked away with Bai Lian. Who is that? Bai Lian unconsciously replied. Song Min. Song Min. Jiang Fulai had a good memory. After learning she had a fiancé, he had deliberately inquired about it. And what a coincidence the fiancé had that name. Song Min. Jiang Fulai held the car keys, his tone mockingly elongated. Ex-fiancé, huh? His voice stretched out long. Bai Lian, a bit of a miscalculation. Seeing Bai Lian's expression, Jiang Fulai knew this man was indeed her ex-fiancé. He opened the passenger door. Bai Lian, please get in. Bai Lian silently got into the car. Jiang Fulai took his seat in the driver's seat, leisurely buckling his seatbelt and starting the car. Then, turning his head, he politely asked, Bai Lian, are we heading to Jiangjing University's intersection? Yes. Bai Lian connected to Bluetooth and started to loudly play an English reading. Oh, Bai Lian. Jiangjing University. Su Shuji found Su Weniao. Everyone from the Qi family is waiting for your response. Calm down and come with me to the Qi family, okay? Su Shuji, dressed in a suit and draped in a coat, pressed her brow. If you don't go this time, how many opportunities will you miss out on? Can you really be content with that? She already knew the whole story. Qi Xian was too willful. This time, Su Weniao was also stubborn, refusing to apologize or reconcile. There were so many industry bigwigs at Academician Ma's lecture. Chances were, among them could be Su Weniao's opportunity. Maybe this was never meant to be mine. Su Weniao lowered his eyes, falling silent for a while before picking up a book and walking to the cafeteria. Auntie, no more talk, I won't go. His phone chimed. He glanced down casually and saw it was from Bai Lian location, Bai Lian. Do you have time to meet up? Su Weniao saw the location, the intersection of Zior Avenue and Cloud Avenue, just 200 meters from the entrance of Jiangjing University. She came to Jiangjing University. Had she finally come around, wanting to take a look around the campus? Su Weniao, wait for me 10 minutes. Su Weniao didn't have time to think further. He looked around and saw a shuttle bus coming towards him. Jiangjing University was vast, with dedicated campus buses making rounds. Where are you going? Su Shuji hadn't finished speaking when she saw Su Weniao boarding the shuttle. Alien is waiting for me outside. I'll show her around the school, Su Weniao said, and as the bus doors automatically closed, it sped away, leaving behind a bewildered Su Shuji. What in the world was the Ji family doing? One group was out fishing, and now someone wanted to tour Jiangjing University. She was in a mess. Academician Ma's lecture was this afternoon, and instead of joining her to visit the Qi family, Su Weniao was now planning to take Bai Lian for a campus tour, outside Jiangjing University. Upon coming out, Su Weniao jogged towards the location Bai Lian had sent him. Strangely, although this intersection was very close to Jiangjing University, Bai Lian had not come over but was waiting there instead. 3 minutes later, he saw Bai Lian leaning lazily against a leafless ginkgo tree, dressed in a white quilted jacket, her head down memorizing words, attracting countless gazes. There were even girls with Jiangjing University culture and creative canvas bags, secretly taking photos. Su Weniao slowed his pace, wondering if tonight he would see a thread on Bai Lian on the Jiangjing University forum. Alien, he approached, handing her a cup of hot milk tea he bought on the road at the school gate and started gently, Why didn't you go to the school entrance? Bai Lian looked up, not turning off the Bluetooth earphone, and spoke up, Just drop something off and go. Drop something off. Was it Jai Heng who asked her to do this? Su Weniao was taken aback because Su En wouldn't let Bai Lian run errands, and only the Jai family tended to be different from others. Jai Heng always had large pockets made for Bai Lian's clothes. The jacket had 2 pockets as well, and she fished out a ticket from inside, the same one Academician Ma had given her before. Bai Lian handed the event ticket to Su Weniao, speaking lazily. Take this. What? Su Weniao took the item Bai Lian passed to him in surprise. Due to the conflict, Qi Xian hadn't given Su Weniao a ticket to the event. He had never seen an event ticket before. Su Weniao looked down curiously. The ticket was 5 centimeters wide, more than 10 centimeters long, overall in a light blue color, with an image of the Jiangjing Science and Technology Museum on the front. He flipped it over. Several lines were written on the back. Quantum and Information Era Lecturer. Ma Tingfeng date, 1/17 in the afternoon at 2 location. Lecture Hall, basement level 2 of Jiangjing Science and Technology Museum, Quantum and Information Era. Ma Tingfeng. As Su Weniao read on, he suddenly realized what this was, and a barely visible tremble went through his hand, holding the light blue ticket, his fingertips turning a little pale. A lecture by academician Ma. To say that tickets were hard to come by was an understatement. Any random person at the scene would be a big shot in the industry. Su En and Su Shuji had also put some effort into it, but the tickets couldn't be obtained by simply spending money. Otherwise, Su Shuji and the old lady Su wouldn't take turns persuading Su Weniao to apologize. And now, Bai Lian just gave him one like that. "You, where did you get this?" He raised his head to look at Bai Lian, astounded. Even for someone as calm as him, his mind was in a daze. He was too flustered to know where to start. "Someone gave it to me." Bai Lian was still wearing a Bluetooth earpiece. The wind was a bit strong outside. She put her hands in her pockets and said languidly, "Jiang Zioneo said you wanted to attend academician Ma's lecture." Su Weniao replied subconsciously, "Jiang Zioneo." "Ah," Bai Lian said too fast and misspoke. She tilted her head. "I mean Jiang He, the one you've met." Su Weniao knew Jiang He. They had gone to the museum together that day. It's just, looking at the unconcerned face of Bai Lian, so beautiful, Su Weniao really couldn't fathom how she would nickname someone and call them so earnestly by that nickname. "I should go now." Bai Lian nodded slightly to Su Weniao. There was no parking here, and Jiang Fulai was still waiting for her at that temporary parking spot. She couldn't afford to go back too late. "You," Su Weniao opened his mouth, and Bai Lian looked at him with raised eyebrows, somewhat puzzled, as if asking if there was anything else. "No," Su Weniao paused. "Just asking since you're at the school gate, why not go in and take a look?" "We'll see." Bai Lian bid him an unhurried farewell and turned to find Jiang Fulai. Behind her, Su Weniao stood still on the spot. The event ticket in his hand felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Having grown up in the Su family, Su Weniao always knew that the relationship between the Su family and everyone else was based on the value of interests. The old lady Su valued the Qi family's connections in the education sector, and how could the Qi family overlook the Su family's money? Qi Xian was capricious, but the Qi family was also using the event ticket to test his limit. Living in such an environment, for the first time someone directly told him, "If you want to go, I'll give it to you." She was the kind of person who was so relaxed, so easy to spark a liking for. Su Weniao thought, if she were a general, many people would be willing to follow her into battle. Zior Avenue is a main road with many students, and vehicles can't stop here. Jiang Fulai circled around for a while before parking the car on the side of Cloud Avenue. There are many schools here, and despite it being close to the new year, many Jiangjing students still hadn't gone home. Passing students were all looking at Jiang Fulai's car, but seeing the tightly closed windows, no one dared to approach. Bai Lian opened the passenger door and sat down, buckling her seatbelt unhurriedly. Bai Lian interrupted him. "I gave Su Weniao the ticket to academician Ma's lecture." Jiang Fulai, who could change subjects elegantly, with his eyebrows carrying a cool pride and cool white fingers tapping on the steering wheel, spoke seriously. "We'll go eat Jiangjing cuisine for lunch." Okay. The situation was temporarily back to normal. Bai Lian turned the Bluetooth speaker volume down. After lunch, they would still go to the Science and Technology Museum. The museum was located between Chang'an and Xinjiang districts, and Jiang Fulai didn't drive too far, stopping at a private restaurant on the edge of Chang'an district. It was within a small alley, in an ancient building with few people around. Jiang Fulai had ordered the dishes before coming, in a second-floor private room by the window, a small square table next to the window. With a bamboo curtain half rolled up behind it was a transparent glass pane, offering a view of the river below through the glass. Occasionally, a small boat would drift by. Bai Lian settled in her seat, pulled up the curtain, and while talking to Jiang Fulai said, "I also saved one for Tang Ming." "Him?" Jiang Fulai poured her a glass of water with elegance and casually said, "He could benefit from the learning atmosphere." Bai Lian, lounging back, supported her chin and watched the view outside. "That's what I thought too." Meanwhile, on the way back to the classroom after eating, Tang Ming couldn't help sneezing, to which he explained to Ning Xiao, "My mom must be thinking of me." Ning Xiao usually wouldn't respond to that kind of remark. Excuse me. Just as they had reached the stairs, Su Jiu, wearing thick glasses and with her forehead hanging low, spoke softly to the two of them. "Do you know where Bai Lian is?" She twisted her fingers together nervously. Her voice was so soft that Tang Ming hadn't heard clearly, but he understood that she was inquiring about Bai Lian. Tang Ming glanced at her. "She's out on some business. If you need anything, I can pass on the message." "It's nothing, thank you." Su Jiu bowed again and hurriedly left with her head down. Tang Ming was puzzled. He still wanted to say something. His phone beeped, and at the same time, Ning Xiao's lit up. It was a message from Jiang Fulai, containing only the location of a science and technology museum. The two of them exchanged a glance and then turned to leave. Jiang Fulai was signaling them to hurry over. The Science and Technology Museum covered a vast area. The entire building was shaped like a concave streamline, and from high above, the Science and Technology Museum resembled a semicircular blue crystal, glistening brilliantly. Bai Lian and Jiang Fulai had arrived first, and they decided to look around the exhibition before heading to the lecture hall when it was time. The first floor showcased the evolution of science and technology from the modern era to the present, featuring 3D projections and displays about intelligence and co-creation. The second floor was dedicated to the evolution of physics, chemistry, and mathematics. The third floor focused on the universe and aerospace, where Bai Lian even saw a small satellite. The second basement level. A crowd had gathered at the entrance. Most of them were from Jiangjing University. Due to security reasons, the number of tickets was limited, and many without tickets could only gather at the entrance to watch. They might even encounter a luminary from a certain field. The museum had anticipated such a scenario and had deployed over a dozen security guards to maintain order on the second basement level. The lecture was set to begin at 2 o'clock. Su Weniao arrived early with tickets to secure a good spot. He handed his ticket to the security check, and the staff member gave him a glance after seeing the blue ticket. It was only 1 o'clock, and there were only a few scattered seats left in the lecture hall. Su Weniao, carrying a stack of books, found a corner seat, sat down, and began to go through problems with his head bowed. "Preparing for the graduate school entrance exam," a voice came from above. Su Weniao looked up and saw a somewhat bald, middle-aged man. He was taken aback. "Dean Huang." He recognized him as the dean of the physics college and also the director of Jiangjing University. There was even an introduction to him, hanging in the corridor on the first floor of the physics teaching building at Jiangjing University. "Yes," Director Huang glanced at the ticket beside Su Weniao. "There are few students who can get a ticket. This," Su Weniao looked down at his ticket, his voice softening. "It was given to me by my sister." Director Huang seemed thoughtful. "What's your name?" "Su Weniao." Director Huang narrowed his eyes slightly and recited a string of numbers. "This is my mobile number. If you encounter any problems in your research, you can ask me. I'm also planning to take on a student this year, so work hard, and I hope to see your name on the list." He patted Su Weniao on the shoulder. Su Weniao was dizzy with surprise, as if luck had literally fallen on his head. "Thank you, Dean Huang." He memorized the number. At the Qi family. Madame Su was speaking with Lady Qi. "Is Cheyenne still angry, refusing to come downstairs?" As Su Weniao hadn't shown up, Madame Su had to make a personal visit. Lady Qi sighed. "Cheyenne has been pampered by us. She lacks manners. Please forgive her, old madame." "This matter isn't Cheyenne's fault. Weniao has trouble prioritizing." Madame Su had a very poor impression of the Ji family. This Ji Mulan hadn't even married into the Su family, and already she had disrupted their feng shui. She put her hands together in a prayer-like gesture. "I hope Cheyenne can forgive Weniao." Lady Qi gave a slight smile. Upstairs, Mr. Qi sat in his study, speaking very calmly to Qi Xian. "Don't worry, Su Weniao will come." He knew how much the Su family needed this opportunity to integrate into the academic circle. Lectures by academician Ma attracted many people from abroad to fly to Jiangxing specifically. The Su family had been rising rapidly over the last 6 months, directly cooperating with the railway and cultural tourism officials. The Qi family wanted to use this opportunity to sound a warning bell for Su Weniao, to show that one doesn't just enter this circle by wishing to. Without the Qi family, the Su family really would be helpless. "I know," Qi Xian said indifferently, sitting aside and sipping her tea. Both were quite composed at the start. As time edged closer to 2 o'clock, Qi Xian was becoming visibly restless. "Dad," Mr. Qi also frowned. Although he knew of Ji Mulan, he had never considered the Ji family a threat, as they were nothing compared to the Qi family. He felt that the Su family would know who was truly important to them, and that Su Weniao would eventually compromise for the sake of the ticket. Just wait a bit longer. Qi father was always able to remain calm. Qi Xian had no choice but to sit down again. Ding! The clock in the study struck 2 o'clock exactly, and Su Weniao still had not arrived, not even a phone call. "Dad!" Qi Xian stood up. Qi father's face also darkened. This ticket was supposed to be an opportunity to get closer to the Su family. Unexpectedly, Su Weniao was really that stubborn. Downstairs. The time had already passed. The old lady Su's complexion also grew gloomy. For the sake of that woman, Su En moved out of the Su family's old house, and now Su Weniao was also missing out on the ticket because of the Ji family. She stood up, looked towards Mrs. Qi, and said solemnly, "Don't worry, I'll give an explanation to Xian about this matter." "Old madam, I know you have Xian's best interests at heart," Mrs. Qi said with narrowed eyes. "We won't attend the wedding the day after tomorrow. I hope you can understand. Su En's second marriage, and the partner is an unknown person. Though the wedding was grand, some people would go out of respect for Su En, while others couldn't be bothered to pay homage. The Qi family looked down on these social circles, but Mrs. Qi and Qi Xian were still planning to go. After all, after Qi Xian married into the Su family, Ji Mulan would be her mother-in-law, at least partially. Mrs. Qi also planned to accompany Qi Xian to give the Su family some face and to put some pressure on Ji Mulan. However, Mrs. Qi was now very dissatisfied with Su Weniao's attitude. She decided not to attend the wedding and would not let Qi Xian go either. Science and Technology Museum. The lecture by academician Ma was about to conclude. The last part was the question and answer session. Bai Lian arrived late and had no seat, so she stood in the corner with Tang Ming and Ning Xiao. There were people in the back rows, and Bai Lian, holding her phone, put on her Bluetooth headset when the Q&A started. Her phone lit up and she casually swiped to check it. It was Jian Zhangyu. "Dean Jian, screenshot!" The screenshot showed a conversation with Pu Ziohen, who said she was in Jiangxing. Dean Jian. A simple question mark, inquiring why she didn't visit him while she was in Jiangxing. Bai Jian. "Dean Jian, location!" Dean Jian. "There's a small student performance the day after tomorrow. Want to come see it? Classical music ensemble." He sent the location of Jiangxing Music Academy. He also sent Bai Lian a photo, a group shot of classical instruments at the venue, with over a dozen guzhangs, and besides these, there were gyukins, flutes, pipas. These instruments, played by students who had practiced for a long time, along with arrangements and direction by the tutors. Just imagining it told you how good it would sound. Jian Zhangyu was arranging music for Yan Lu, and Bai Lian wanted to find an opportunity to thank him. But the day after tomorrow was really not possible, coinciding with Su En's wedding, so she honestly replied that she didn't have time. Dean Jian was speechless. "Dean Jian, today!" He was asking her out to meet today. With no classes in the evening, Bai Lian thought for a moment and didn't refuse. The lecture hall was very quiet. After messaging Tang Ming and Ning Xiao, she quietly slipped away from the back. Sitting in the front row, academician Ma, who was listening to other teachers answer questions, watched Bai Lian sneak out early. And he could only sit there, powerless academician Ma. Jiangjing Music Academy. Upon receiving Bai Lian's address, Jian Zhongyu quickly stood up from his seat, holding his phone as he walked out, excitement faintly visible on his face. People he encountered along the way would nod and smile at him. His mood was obviously very good. When he met two girls in gowns on the road, Jian Zhongyu nodded to them and asked, "Are you participating in the performance the day after tomorrow?" The two girls, not expecting Dean Jian to greet them first, bowed and said, "Yes, Dean Jian." Dean Jian recognized one of them who played the white-robed journey. He himself was famous for playing that piece, and the Bai Lian he was about to meet could play it too. He then smiled at her. "Good luck." And with hands clasped behind his back, he hummed an unknown tune as he walked out. After he left, the girl in the purple gown excitedly turned to her companion. She had noticed that the last comment from Dean Jian was directed at Bai Shayaki. "Shayaki, do you know Dean Jian? He actually greeted you. Has he been paying attention to you for long? Does he want to take you on as his last disciple?" At the entrance, Mrs. Song, wearing a coat, walked inside, hearing the girl's last remark. "Look at this, what's going on? A last disciple." Bai Kaiming had already returned to Baikeng. As Song Min was still at the Boyuan base, Madame Song had not yet gone back. She took the opportunity to celebrate the new year in Jiangjing. Upon learning that Bai Shayaki was selected for the school's gala performance, Madame Song would find time to watch her. Today, with Song Min visiting the Yin family for dinner, Madame Song specially came to pick up Bai Shayaki. Those who could study at the Jiangjing Music Academy all came from impressive family backgrounds. Bai Shayaki's background was relatively modest among these people, and her fellow students were not particularly warm to her. This was the first time Madame Song saw a student actively clinging to Bai Shayaki's arm. Bai Shayaki, stunned, heard this and looked towards Madame Song, steadying herself. "I just happened to run into Dean Jian." "I saw as well," Madame Song sighed. She had seen Dean Jian leaving as she came in, but could not find an opportunity to get to know him. The girl in the purple dress smiled as she exchanged contact information with Bai Shayaki. "When you become Dean Jian's student, don't forget about me, okay?" Having said this, she waved her phone at Bai Shayaki and left. "You, Dean Jian's student?" Madame Song's heart skipped a beat. She looked at Bai Shayaki in astonishment. She had assumed they were discussing Dean Jian's disciples because, after all, Bai Shayaki had failed to secure her previous academic ambitions. "Just now, Dean Jian took the initiative to greet me." Bai Shayaki spoke up, her unsettled heart in these past days now beginning to calm down. Madame Song exhaled, pondering silently. She was to pick up Song Min from the Boyuan base and bring him back to the Yin family. Song Min had been very silent on the way, but since he was always aloof, neither Bai Shayaki nor Madame Song suspected anything. At the Yin family's home, hearing the news about Dean Jian, Mr. Yin also made a special trip back. "Shayaki, that's very impressive," he praised with a smile. Bai Shayaki went upstairs to change clothes. "I will go watch Shayaki's performance the day after tomorrow." Madame Song had been struggling with the Su family and Bai Shayaki. After all, the Su family had now reached heights that the Song family could not. However important as the Su family was, it did not outweigh Bai Shayaki's position in Madame Song's heart at the moment. Fortunately, she had calmed down and broken off the engagement with Bai Lian at that time. "Mom," Song Min, who had been silent all this time, finally spoke up. "Bai Lian is also at the Boyuan base." "Oh," Madame Song, as usual, responded indifferently to the mention of Bai Lian's name. After saying this, she realized what Song Min meant. "She's at the Boyuan base. How did she get in there?" "Through the Su family." Madame Song was well aware of Bai Lian's past cheating incident in the humanities class. "As I mentioned last time, the person who got full marks in math, that's her," Song Min said, looking out the window. "Full marks in math?" Madame Song thought it was unbelievable. Bai Lian's notorious reputation for lack of study in Baikeng was well known. When Bai Lian left the Bai family, Madame Song decisively chose Bai Shayaki as a swift solution to the messy situation. Now, with Song Min saying that Bai Lian scored full marks in math, Madame Song's first instinct was that it was impossible. But, Boyuan base, What kind of place is it? If Song Min wasn't certain that Bai Lian had scored full marks, he would never have brought it up to her. Full marks, that means she scored even higher than you? Madame Song asked, still stunned. He was second in comprehensive science, with Ning Xiao in the first place, so Bai Lian definitely wouldn't have scored higher than him. Well, that's a relief. Madame Song felt a slight ease, like Song Min before. With just over 100 days left until the college entrance examination, Amin, work hard and don't be careless next time. Before today, Madame Song might have felt a tinge of regret hearing Bai Lian's score. But now, with Bai Shayaki personally greeted by Dean Jian, Madame Song felt that, in comparison, Bai Shayaki was a more worthy investment. A disciple of Dean Jian, her future in the art world would be like looking down from a mountain peak. She could then be compared to Bai Shayak, but Madame Song also felt a bit of regret. Full marks in math, thankfully her comprehensive science was less than perfect, otherwise she would have felt anguished. And she wondered if Bai Kaiming knew about this. The Jiangjing Music Academy was not far from the Science and Technology Museum. Knowing she was at the Science and Technology Museum, Dean Jian sent her an address. It was an old restaurant, also in Chang'an District. Bai Lian started searching for directions on the map. Before she found the route, Assistant Su called. His voice was very respectful. "Miss Bai, do you have time tonight?" "No," Bai Lian explained. "I have an appointment with someone." Assistant Su heard the sound of the museum's loudspeakers. "Are you at the Science and Technology Museum?" "I happen to be nearby. It's just a few minutes' drive. Where do you need to go? I can take you there." Bai Lian looked at the bus, which would take at least an hour to ride. The day after tomorrow, he also has to receive guests, so he hasn't gone home and has booked a room at the hotel. "Brother, you should also manage him," Su Shuji sighed. "Cheyenne is a bit willful, but don't because of Jai. Incur a great loss over a small matter. Do you not know how important that ticket is to him?" Su Shuji really didn't understand. If it were for some other important affair to have a falling out with the Chi family, that would be one thing. But it was precisely because of the Jai family's affair. In her opinion, 100 Jai families could not compare to the Chi family. Ji Mulan merely stood to the side, unaware of any ticket's significance. But she was also aware that this was a field beyond her reach, and upon hearing Su Shuji's meaningful words, paused for a moment, somewhat understanding why recently the old Mrs. Su had repeatedly expressed dissatisfaction with the wedding. Su-en pulled out a cigarette. "This is not incurring a great loss over a small matter. This isn't considered," Su Shuji frowned. "Auntie," Su Weniao interjected, stopping her. He looked at Su Shuji. "I went to the lecture this afternoon." "What?" Su Weniao drew a carefully preserved blue ticket, gave her a glance at it. "Academician Ma's lecture, I attended it." Su-en was also startled by this ticket. "Where did you get this?" The academic lecture in the science and research community was not one could just decide to attend. "Alien gave it to me," Su Weniao said softly. Su Shuji realized who this person was, extremely shocked. Her! How did she get hold of the ticket? When Su-en heard it was Bai Lian, he was stunned for a while, then nodded and calmed down. No wonder. Bai Lian always knew many odd and unexpected people. If it were her, then Su-en wouldn't find it strange after all. That was the person even Director Chen would call Miss Bai. Let alone getting hold of tickets, Su-en thought, now that Bai Lian knew that academician Ma. He wouldn't find it strange either. Su Shuji felt in the afternoon that Su's assistant had a very strange attitude towards the Jai family, and now seeing Su-en's reaction, she was even more astonished. What on earth are the people from the Jai family? After she went back, she had someone show her Ji Mulan's information again, graduated from Baikeng University, from Xiancheng. She turned it over and over but didn't see anything out of the ordinary. Su-en's wedding day. It was the last day of courses at Boyuan Base, and Bai Lian and her two companions were earnestly listening to a lecture. The day after tomorrow is the Lunar New Year, and Boyuan Base would be on holiday too. The wedding ceremony was at 11:18, and Bai Lian and her group just needed to arrive before 11. During the lecture break, the professor sat above. Tang Ming went to the restroom with Wang Xu, and the girls seated in the middle turned back to see the left side of Bai Lian was empty, then slowly approached. Bai Lian, with her chin propped up, was lazily flipping through a review, and upon hearing some noise, she slightly raised her eyes. She raised an eyebrow at Su Jiyu, both her eyes and brows tinged with indolence. "Hello, I'm Su Jiyu. My brother is Su Weniao." Su Jiyu introduced herself in a soft voice. She held up her phone, wanting to add Bai Lian on WeChat. Su Jiyu? Bai Lian had known this name for a long time, but only now did she learn that she was actually Su Weniao's sister. Bai Lian had a rather good impression of Su Jiyu, who was quiet and unassuming. The other time, she had even wanted to give Bai Lian the math modeling Liang Wuyu, and others had done. Bai Lian took out her phone, scrolled to the QR code, and let Su Jiyu add her. Su Jiyu left, excited. Another person was added on her phone. Bai Lian didn't pay much attention until she put down her phone to continue reading the review. Jiyu, sister, you're awesome. Jiyu, you can actually do math modeling with senior He Wen. Jiyu, number at %. Bai Lian stared at the message for several seconds before slowly, and with some hesitation, tapping on the person's avatar. The latest moment in their circle of friends was from the day before yesterday. Wild boar shocked.jpg. Su Weniao commented. 6. Bai Lian went back, finally confirming that the person who typed such noisy text was indeed the seemingly quiet Su Jiyu. Jiyu, sis, aren't you attending the wedding today? Bai Lian, I'm attending. Jiyu, my car is here, let's go together. Bai Lian, I'll go later. Jiyu, okay then. Lion, sis, what's wrong with you? Tang Ming, who was talking to Wang Xu about something, came back and saw Bai Lian looking at her phone. Her usually calm expression seemed a bit off, so he couldn't help asking. Song Min couldn't help but look over upon hearing Tang Ming's question. Nothing. Bai Lian put down her phone and continued to read her review paper. Tang Ming sat down next to Bai Lian, and Wang Xu took a seat next to Tang Ming. He talked to Tang Ming. The math physics god hasn't made any moves for a while now. That stuff's killing a bunch of people. Don't worry, she must be busy, Tang Ming spoke up. Right, she's probably like senior He Wen, spending every day in the lab, Wang Xu sighed. Tang Ming. It's also possible she was off brushing up on biology and chemistry, then practicing piano when free. By the way, what's your username on the app? Wang Xu took out his phone, opened the app. Let's all follow each other. Everyone mostly used their real names. Wang Xu searched for and followed Tang Ming and Ning Xiao. Then, after thinking for a bit, he searched for Bai Lian, but found nothing. Not there. Wang Xu found it odd. In the Boyuan base publicity office. Jiang Fulai lounged on the sofa, wearing loose-knit clothing and looking completely at ease. In his hand was a black pen, and his lightly draped leg supported several documents. Jiang He was sitting on the side, fiddling with a new Rubik's Cube. Director Chen sat across from Jiang Fulai, extremely uneasy. With Bai Lian not around, he couldn't ignore the pressure emanating from Jiang Fulai. Who in Xinjiang district would believe it, that young Master Jiang was waiting here for someone after class? 10 minutes later, Director Chen could no longer sit still. He got up with some trepidation. Jiang, young Master Jiang. Jiang Fulai stretched out a hand and tossed the document he had finished reading onto the coffee table. Speak. I was thinking of helping Uncle Jai with something. Director Chen stood there. Without thinking, he dragged Jai Heng into it. They're getting married today. Surely they must be swamped. If I go, I can help out with the preparations. He had dropped off Jiang He in the morning to find Jiang Fulai and then came together to find Bai Lian. He thought Bai Lian would be there as soon as he arrived. Director Chen had no idea that scam prevention had gotten so serious. Bai Lian was still in class, and they had to wait for about an hour. Jiang He, out of all consideration, who dares to face Jiang Fulai alone for an hour? Go ahead, Jiang Fulai lifted his head momentarily. Director Chen hurriedly left the room. After departing the publicity office, Director Chen took a breath of relief, finally feeling refreshed as he sat in his car and fastened his seatbelt. Before driving off, he made a phone call. Shenmin, have you set off yet? And Jai Heng was seated at the second table. Seeing Su En speaking and then suddenly falling silent, Shenmin glanced at the table and realized the problem. Table for the groom's guests. Table for the bride's guests. Shenmin had attended many weddings, big and small, but this was the first time he had seen such a ludicrous seating arrangement. He stood with his hands clasped behind his back, not getting involved in their family affairs. "Why have you just come in now?" Ji Shaojun saw Su-en and stood up to greet him with a smile. "Have all the guests been received? Do you need any help from me?" "No, you just stay with them," Su-en replied, struggling to contain his anger, then turned back to his uncle, who had hurried over. "How did you arrange these seats?" The uncle was taken aback as well. Madame Su, leaning on her cane, came forward and scolded Su-en. "You're so busy with the wedding you're not being sensible, not putting the right people in charge. Look at this seating arrangement. What does it look like? See who's responsible for today's affair. Get rid of such people from the Su family." She then turned to Shen Min with a smile. "District Chief Shen, please take your seat first." Raising her hand, she directed Shen Min to the first table, then gestured to the uncle to switch the seating arrangement, and finally she said in a gentle tone to Ji Heng, "Old Mr. Ji, how could you sit here? Hurry up and help the old gentleman to the main table." The last sentence was addressed to the Su butler. The Su butler quickly stepped forward, while Ji Heng wrapped his pipe and looked up at Su-en before waving his hand. "No need, I'm quite happy sitting here. You go on with your business, no need to entertain us." He slowly blew out a ring of smoke. He could leave, but to make him go back, that was impossible. Shen Min glanced at the pipe in Ji Heng's hand, putting it together with the various tobaccos that Superintendent Chen had been asking him to find. He realized in almost an instant. He too gave a laugh, took a seat next to Ji Heng, leaving one spot open, and said to Su-en, "I'm also a guest of the bride's side. I'll just sit at this table. You go ahead with your tasks. I will chat with the others for a bit." He wondered who exactly Alien was. The table for the bride's guests, label on the table, was very conspicuous. Madame Su looked stiffly at Shen Min, struggling to find a word to say to him because, with that table for the bride's guests, she had no excuse to sit at the same table. She ended up taking a seat at the foremost table, feeling as uncomfortable as if she was sitting on pins and needles. Without any mood to fiddle with her Buddha beads, the uncle initially had the leisure to consider seating, but now, standing next to Madame Su, he didn't dare to sit down. "Madam, what should we do now?" His eyes were on the table where the Ji family sat, bewildered. What kind of people were the Ji family? "These are Alien's guests." Su-en bent down and softly introduced Shen Min to Ji Heng. Su-en took a deep breath. Ji Heng obviously didn't take the matter to heart, and from the seat Shen Min left open. He probably knew who would be coming. "Are they all fools?" Su-en muttered to himself as he walked out, addressing Su Shuji and the guest reception manager. Not to mention that District Chief Shen would be arriving today, but even if he wasn't, to turn a main table into a table for the groom's guests, is that proper? A table for the groom's guests indeed made a mockery of the situation. Su-en's expression was terribly gloomy. Su Shuji had no idea why Madame Su would suddenly set up a table for the groom's guests. She quickly followed behind Su-en, lamenting that old age indeed made it difficult to understand. "How would I know about that?" "Go and watch over her for me," Su-en instructed Su Shuji as he sent her inside. "There's no need for you outside with the welcoming." At Ji Heng's table, he himself wasn't very talkative, but Ji Shaojun and Shen Qing had more to say. Shen Min managed to coax most of the story out of Shen Qing with just a few words. Ji Heng took out his phone and called Bai Lian. "Grandpa, we will leave tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock. A voice from the phone end. Bai Lian rested her phone on her ear, her knee bearing a review paper. Sunlight streamed through a crack in the car window onto her documents. She leaned back casually in her seat. "We should arrive in Damping City at around 9 o'clock. Damping City was right next to Xiancheng, an hour's drive away. They would be home before 12 o'clock. Ji Heng was surprised. "Damping City has an airport now." It might. Bai Lian turned her head to look at Jiang Fulai, who was beside her. There was a silence. In the end, no one spoke. Ji Heng didn't ask further. He disconnected the call and continued smoking his cigar. He was a man of few words, and Shen Min couldn't quite figure out his temper, so he kept talking to Ji Shaojun. Around 10 o'clock, many guests had arrived, including some high-level executives from the Su family. Hearing that District Chief Shen was here, quite a few people made it a point to greet them at this table before going back to their own. As for Mrs. Su's main table, no one approached it at all. Shen Qing, who sat beside Jai Shaojun, learned from the conversations that Shen Min was a district chief and whispered in shock to Jai Shaojun. So Shen Min is a district chief. Another group of people arrived, led by a woman in her 40s, who shook hands with Shen Min and said with a smile, "District Chief Shen, I'm from the Ma family. We met at the last bidding. I didn't expect to see you here." This time, the Ma family couldn't be bothered to send someone, so they sent her, and she unexpectedly reaped the benefits. With that, the woman's smile broadened. She continued to greet everyone else at the table. "Elder Jai, congratulations. You've traveled from afar, so today you must eat and drink well, and don't let President Su be thrifty on your account." Even Shen Qing was not missed out on. Not everyone at the table had arrived yet, but it was already very lively. It was at this moment that some noise suddenly came from the entrance. The woman at Jai Heng's table couldn't help but look toward the entrance. Su En walked in with a middle-aged man. When Su En saw the place left for Director Chen, he knew Chen would come, and sure enough, within less than 10 minutes, Director Chen arrived, letting Su En finally relax. "When did you return? Alien didn't tell me you would be coming." Su En had gone fishing with Director Chen a couple of times, and the two were fairly familiar with each other. "I came back on a whim." Director Chen scanned the room and strode towards Jai Heng's side. "Don't mind me. I'm here to have a drink with Uncle Jai." He said not to mind him, but Su En dared not take that literally. Walking further inside, the attention from many people shifted toward them. The man beside Su En had a tan complexion. His eyebrows were like ink, and he was not given to laughter or excessive talking, nor did he often appear in public, so most people at the scene did not recognize him. However, there were some who did, like the middle-aged woman still standing by Jai Heng's table, and Mrs. Su at the table behind, who had just settled in for a few minutes before standing up again using a cane, tilted her head to look at Uncle Su beside her. That is, compared to Shen Min, the person now seemed even more incredible to her. Su Shuji also stood up. Squinting at the man beside Su En, she was momentarily hesitant to speak. Not many people had seen Director Chen, so Su Shuji dared not be sure. Su En approached with Director Chen. At Jai Heng's table, Shen Min finally set down his teacup. He stood up with no more the relaxed look on his face, his body tensed up as he nodded slightly to Director Chen. "Director Chen!" His voice was deep. Not loud, but most could hear it clearly. Su Shuji, the elder Mrs. Su, and their group all watched quietly as the man Shen Min addressed as Director Chen. The people who had been mingling around Jai Heng's table swiftly parted to the sides, creating a clear path. "Long time no see." Director Chen merely nodded slightly back at Shen Min in greeting and then went over to the side of the table, looking at Jai Heng with a smile breaking over his taut face. "Uncle Jai, sorry to keep you waiting." As he spoke, he pulled out the empty seat beside Jai Heng and sat down. Jai Heng put down his pipe, turned his head to look at Director Chen, and showed a smile as well. "Zio Chen, you've come quite early. Alien and the others aren't even here yet." "I didn't want to keep you waiting, so I came ahead," said Director Chen, making no mention of the fact that he did not dare wait with Jiang Fulai for Bai Lian. He then greeted Jai Shaojun, Shen Qing, and the others. Following Jai Heng's lead, the table fell silent, not to mention Mrs. Su and others who wanted to greet them. Shen Min was also taken aback by Jai Heng's casual use of Zio Chen. For a while, apart from their table, no one else dared to speak. That face made many people in the audience exclaim in surprise. Jai Heng silently placed Ji Mulan's hand into Su En's, who was dressed in a black suit. The scene seemed somewhat touching. Bai Lian looked at Ji Mulan's face for quite a while before finally turning her head away lazily. Fine. Although that face resembled her mother's, she really did not feel like she was watching her own mother get married. When her mother got married, she wore a phoenix crown and a robe adorned with auspicious clouds, and her wedding procession extended for miles. She had heard that back then, her grandfather had excitedly grabbed her father's hand, thanking him for finally bringing the bride home. The wedding ceremony was lengthy and lively. The sound system was turned up loud, so Bai Lian closed the summary and started talking with Jiang Fulai. The waiters also began to serve the dishes one by one. When Jai Heng returned, Director Chen and Shen Min started drinking with him. All three men were heavy drinkers, and they kept on without a break. After the ceremony was over, Su En had to thank the guests along with Ji Mulan. Mrs. Su, who had been anxiously sitting at the main table, finally found an opportunity. Holding a wine glass, she stood up, her face beaming with a smile as she said to Ji Mulan, "Mulan, welcome to the Su family. Later, come with us back to the old house for a visit." Ji Mulan had been doing her makeup in the back all this time and didn't quite understand what stance the old lady was taking, which left her a bit confused. "Let's go." Mrs. Su didn't continue to talk to her. Instead, she looked towards the next table and urged Su En to hurry. "Go and say thanks to Elder Chen and the others." I'll go too," Su Jiu said softly to Su Weniao as she came over from the relatives' table. She was holding a cup of beverage. Su Weniao glanced at her, yet he was not surprised. Su En picked up a wine glass and another jug of wine, leading a group of people to Bai Lian's table. Only then did Ji Mulan notice Director Chen. She didn't talk nonsense at such an occasion, with Mrs. Su intently watching Director Chen and Shen Min. After Su En finished speaking, she finally found the chance to say her first words to Director Chen and Shen Min. "Today, I was unaware of the presence of such distinguished guests and may have been neglectful. As an apology, I shall drink 3 cups on my own." Old Mrs. Su filled her cup and bravely drank 3 cups in one go. Only then did her gaze shift towards Bai Lian, who was sitting in a corner. Bai Lian was looking down, fiddling with her phone, and from this angle, one couldn't see Bai Lian's face clearly. But at this moment, Mrs. Su didn't dare to suggest introducing her to the Yu family. Director Chen was shrewd. As soon as he had seen their seats, he chose not to speak. He wore a stern face, with a frosty expression that tightened Mrs. Su's heart. After finishing the drinks, she didn't even dare to breathe heavily. The newlyweds, Su En and Ji Mulan, needed to toast to the guests at this table. Bai Lian didn't drink alcohol, but her cup was also empty of any beverage. Tang Ming reached down to pick up a bottle of juice. "Sis, here." Before he could pass it to Bai Lian, Director Chen took the beverage from his hand, stood up, unscrewed the cap, and from across half the table poured the drink for Bai Lian. "Miss Bai, is this all right?" While unscrewing the cap, he asked her, and Tang Ming wore a WTF expression on his face. "It's fine." Bai Lian pushed her cup onto the rotating glass turntable. Director Chen poured the beverage for Bai Lian, and then cautiously rotated the table a bit, stopping in front of her before sitting back down. The group normally drank their toast, and could leave the event early. Now getting a little closer, Bai Lian finished her drink and looked towards Jai Heng. "Grandfather, I'll see you tomorrow morning." She and Ning Xiao, among others, still had to return to Boyuan Base for a seminar. "You're leaving already?" Su En felt somewhat regretful. Bai Lian nodded. "Studying." Su En consistently knew how hard she worked. Ji Mulan, standing on the side, just watched Bai Lian. Studying? What is there to study now? And behind Su En, upon seeing Director Chen carefully pouring a drink for Bai Lian, old Mrs. Su's face suddenly became extremely stiff. She felt like she had been struck by lightning. A feeling of dizziness quickly overtook her, and her heart suddenly tightened in pain. Next to her, middle-aged women holding tall glasses lined up to toast. She looked at Director Chen, then at Bai Lian, and finally her gaze fell on old Mrs. Su. This old woman. Having spent days hunting eagles, she eventually got her eyes pecked by one. She clearly held a royal flush, but this old lady managed to play such a good hand into utter shambles. Bai Lian, Jiang Fulai, Ning Xiao, and the others stood up, with Jiang Fulai's presence becoming notably evident as he got to his feet. He was aloof, and under the lights, his eyes were cold and captivating, prompting Director Chen to suddenly stand up as well. In her red toasting outfit, Ji Mulan couldn't speak up at such an event. Standing among the crowd, she tilted her head to ask Su Jiu, her gaze soft. "Jiu, how did you dare to come over and toast today?" Su Jiu, shyly holding her transparent glass, said, "Sister Bai, I dare not talk to her in class, and I wanted to ask her how she studies math." Su Jiu stood at the back of the crowd, speaking softly because she dared to speak to Ji Mulan due to their decent relationship. The noise of the crowd was loud, but Ji Mulan heard everything she needed to. "Is she in your class?" Ji Mulan had always thought Bai Lian had come to Jiangjing for tourism. She paused slightly. "Do you still need her to teach you math?" The incident with Bai Lian in her first year of high school was something Ji Mulan couldn't forget. Ji Mulan's voice was somewhat loud, not as gentle as usual. Su Jiu cautiously glanced at her and said, "Yes, she's at Boyuan Base." "Boyuan Base?" The middle-aged woman looked at Bai Lian in surprise. Her expression held a trace of astonishment. Although grades didn't mean everything, they did set the upper limit of a top streamer's capabilities. Everyone from Boyuan Base had potential and was no mediocrity. How could Mrs. Su push such a person out of the door? Ji Mulan didn't know about Boyuan Base, but in front of so many people, she wouldn't show any signs of ignorance and simply smiled faintly. "Jiu, I didn't mean to be harsh on you." Ji Mulan patted Su Jiu's back. Since she couldn't talk to anyone else, she turned to Shen Qing, who was sitting, and said, "This is Jiu. She's in an affiliated high school, second in the country." As she introduced Su Jiu, she spoke of her as polite, obedient, hardworking, and the second in the nation. For her own daughter, whom she was constantly dissatisfied with and found difficult to sit with, Ji Mulan spoke of Su Jiu, to whom she had no blood relation, with pride and satisfaction in her eyes. She wished so much that this well-behaved, outstanding girl was her daughter. If Bai Lian had such a personality, Ji Mulan might kill her primary persona to make her into such an obedient, excellent doll as well. Being second in the nation was indeed something anyone could be proud of. Shen Qing was also shocked, but Ji Mulan's words were even more stifling. She looked at Ji Mulan perfunctorily and said, "Ah, yes, yes, yes. Miss Bai, let me see you out." Director Chen got up, putting down his glass. Shen Min couldn't bring himself to speak and followed quietly behind Director Chen. His address of Miss Bai was heard by everyone. Jiang Fulai also followed Bai Lian. He was always a step or two behind her and didn't move forward. His back was against the bright lights of the hall, the tall figure casting a cold, pale shadow. Because there were quite a few people, his usually cold and indifferent face took on a languid ferocity, arrogantly beautiful. His every feature was exquisite, and yet few dared to look him in the eye. The noisy crowd parted a meter around him as if by force. It was indeed very effective. Bai Lian was very pleased. Su En kept several paces away from Bai Lian, and only when he had seen Bai Lian and her companions into the elevator did he finally breathe a sigh of relief. Su Weniao trailed behind Su En. Looking at the closing doors of the elevator, Su En turned to glance at him and asked, "Do you know her?" "It's hard to say," Su Weniao pondered, "but then again, it seems unlikely." The two dropped the subject and walked inside. As soon as Bai Lian and her company left, Director Chen's expression returned to one of sternness. Sitting next to Shen Qing, still in the high chair and dressed as a little gentleman in a suit and bow tie, was Jiang He. He hadn't left with Jiang Fulai, swinging his legs. He had specifically gone home the previous night to pack his blanket and clothes to accompany Bai Lian to Xiancheng. Bai Lian and Jiang Fulai returned to Boyuan Base. Meanwhile, Tang Ming took Ning Xiao to explore an old street in Ximen district. He scratched his head. "Aren't you going to buy some souvenirs for your family? You haven't really used the scholarship the school gave you. My family keeps asking me in the group chat to bring back specialties." Ning Xiao bought a bright red ornament as a souvenir. "That's it for you?" Tang Ming looked at Ning Xiao. "Aren't you going to buy anything else? Genius, we can't be this heartless." Tang Ming's family had many relatives, including younger sisters, cousins, and nephews. His phone was filled with a long list of items to buy. Ning Xiao was annoyed by his chatter and said indifferently, "My family is dead. Only my grandmother is left." So, one was enough. Tang Ming's voice stopped abruptly. He watched Ning Xiao leave the street corner, then stood there and slapped himself hard. It was the 28th of the year, and the street was bustling with activity. Just 2 blocks away was the Chen family's private museum. Ning Xiao and Tang Ming walked to the main road to wait for the bus. A black SUV approached from the end of the road. Behind the wheel was a woman wearing glasses and a military coat. She had her hair tied into a high ponytail, her lips a fierce red, irritably honking the horn trying to clear the pedestrians who were running the red light. The passenger side was adorned with a large bunch of sunflowers. There weren't many cars on this road, and with the ancient street opposite drawing a large crowd, only one traffic officer was left trying to direct traffic, but could hardly stop those in a rush to cross the street.